All right, welcome to the NFGM Live. My name is Jeremiah Kipainoi. Joining us are guests from Elgeiyo Marakwet today. We are rolling off from that county today, so very happy to have you here. Remember that this show is produced by Mwebia, Antonia Sophia, as well as Sonyanga Olengais. I'm your host, Jeremiah Kipainoi. Today we're talking about a county which has not for a very long time been in the news. During COVID-19, we've also had lots of issues in regards to landslides. We've seen communities trying to adapt to situations because of heavy rains that led to devastating landslides in that area. And during these lockdowns and curfews, lots of things have changed in how these communities are operating, as well as activists on the ground working to end FGM and protect the girls either from child marriage and other forms of abuse. So today we have Ruth Kilimo, who is from Marakwet Girls Foundation, as well as Musa Komen, who is from Kibut Bay Self-Help Group in KO. So he's just going to tell us what the situation is like. So if Ruth, you're able to just come on, we'll be very happy to have you. To you, Musa, just a small brief. KO has been in the news for all kinds of reasons. Just a small brief. How are you coping with the corona pandemic at this time? Musa.
Thank you very much for hosting me this evening. The coronavirus pandemic came as a shock to many of us in our country, and especially in our constituency, which is KO North.
All right.
It has really affected our livelihoods, our day-to-day work. In fact, recently when I was in the office, we were ordered to work straight away from home, which is not our usual routine.
Yeah, you're working from home.
So yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Karibu sana to the NFGM Live show. We really do appreciate having you. Ruth, I see you originating in. We have had situations and we've had lots of issues regarding Elgeiyo Marakwet. And now speaking about the landslides that were there recently, I know that there are some issues that have come up. How are you coping with the corona pandemic, and how has it affected your work at Marakwet Girls Foundation?
Thank you so much, Jeremiah, for having me. I'm grateful this evening. I'd like to say hi to everyone watching us live. And going straight to your question, I'd say this is a double for us here, because there is the pandemic itself, which is affecting everyone, which is a global issue. Yeah. And again, we have the addition that you've just mentioned, that we were affected by landslides. Yeah. So we are left here dealing with two situations, very huge, that are affecting us. So many families were rendered homeless. Yeah. And we have now people like grouping together, like a family is hosting other people who don't have homes. Yeah. And that is going against the requirement by WHO, which is also having social distance, Yeah. There is that part. Yeah. And of course, having the issue, which is scary, it's a deadly disease, as we all know, is something on its own again, Yeah. So I would say it's pretty heavy on us.
Okay. Just go straight to it. We have had so many issues coming up in that regard, and FGM has been a problem in that county. It's one of the 22 hotspot counties in this country, and we've seen lots of engagement. You even hosted in 2017, I think you hosted the Day of the Girl in Marakwet as well.
International Day of the Girl. Yeah.
Yes. Just speaking about what we have been able to achieve and what the challenges are, we're just going to start off with you, Ruth. How are you engaging these communities normally before the corona pandemic? How are you engaging with them and making sure that you are able to sensitize them and prevent the cutting of girls?
Before the COVID-19 came in, I'd say we had a number of ways that we were engaging the community. Yeah. One, we had a strong one which really worked for us, the community dialogue.
Yeah.
Where this is where we had a section of people differently, a small group, a manageable group come together, like say the youth, the old people, the parents, the teachers, religious leaders, all those women, men and women both.
Yeah.
We could have small gatherings where we discuss what are some of the reasons why we still have the practice of female genital mutilation.
Yeah.
And on the other side, and try and see us as young people, how do we come in? What is the role? What is our role as young people that we would say FGM will end in our generation?
Yeah.
We go to the next people and everyone, religious leaders, what is your role in this practice of female genital mutilation? And how do we bring it to an end now that we, at the end of the discussion, we realize we all have a role. We realize that we all have a responsibility to come together and end FGM and protect a child, protect girls, both boys and girls, children, all of them, to ensure that they are on the track and they realize their dreams at the end of it.
Yeah.
So those are some of the things, some of the ways we used to have discussions, bring the community together to ensure that we are having these discussions. We also had school visits. We've visited a number of schools in the entire county, I'd say, both sub-counties. Of course, it can't be all of the schools, but we have tried a good number. Also, this one brings us to having discussions with both children, ensuring what is your role as a girl, what is your role as a young boy, you know. Also the girls, just to bring them into the limelight to understand their rights, to understand they can engage their parents and tell them, hey, mom, honestly, I am not into this. Should it be a subject of discussion? You can engage your religious leader. How do you run for help? How do you engage the community leaders? There's the chief, we have the community elders, you know. How do you engage them? So those are some of the things we used to do. But now, coronavirus came in, and we had to have social distances, we had to have minimal travels, we can't have gatherings. As some of us were capitalizing mostly on churches, we would meet after church, we would discuss a number of things, but now church is closed. So, yeah, I would tell you we are having a little shaky because things are not moving so well. You can't tell me, I won't lie to you, Jeremiah, and tell you we are having online meetings with girls, online meetings with religious leaders. I won't lie to you because, again, where are we working? What is the terrain, you know? Do we have network everywhere? Is everyone owning a smartphone, you know? All those things. Those are things that we put into account and we realize, it's time to just call one person, tell them the things that we've been discussing for the past couple of years, the past couple of months that we've had before coronavirus. Let's put them into practice. Let's come together. Let's come together collectively and see how we can protect our children now that they're home for quite a long time.
Thank you very much for that, Ruth. I just go straight to some of the issues that we're actually talking about. We know that Elgeiyo Marakwet has been quite a volatile place, and I'm just going to bring this to Musa as he tells us what his self-help group does. But I know I'm just going to go through some of the issues that we've had. We've seen insecurity, which is basically the battles between Pokot and the Marakwet, among others, that has necessitated the use of national police reservists, even to try to quell those things. We've seen landslides, we've seen, in many articles online, we've seen lack of men support, both professionals as well as elders. We've seen pressure of women being cut even after being married, women who are 30, 31, 32 years old. We've also seen the issue of age sets and how it affects the cutting season, basically, talking about how an age set of men being transitioned from I'd say from boyhood to manhood affects how many girls are cut, such issues. And I just want us to talk about those some of those issues as Musa reflects on, just tells us what they do in their self-help group, which is Kibut Bay. Just let me know what do you do and how do you operate like that?
Thank you so much. Our name Kibut Bay is self-help group. I in 2014 with our our main objective of to see that we have to engage the community in terms of social events. In fact, in our group, we have our youth who is a musician. We supported him so much to raise some money for a video shooting, of which our main objective was to end the female genital mutilation, which had become a menace in our community. Not in our community alone, but also in our neighborhood. In our community, circumcision is only done with the boys.
All right.
And in our girls, it's a thing of the past. So we supported our youth, our fellow youth, to shoot a video. Na nikitafsiri kwa Kiswahili ilikuwa nasema ya kwamba tukomeshe ukeketaji. Let us stop female genital mutilation. You see, songs is a way of passing a message from one point to another. So we supported our musician so that they can pass the message to our young girls.
All right.
That FGM is something of the past. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Which area do you cover? Because I know that you're coming from the KEO region. Which area? How much? Which places do you cover? Is it just around KEO? Musa?
No. I come from KEO North. We went further to give out sensitization on FGM in our neighborhood, Elgeiyo, Marakwet West, which we bought at them.
Yeah.
Yes.
Amazing. Thank you very much. I'm just going to go straight to how we are coping with this, and we'll just take a look at some of the issues still coming in. I'm just going to take you through so that you can have a picture of some of the issues that we are experiencing in Marakwet, and looking at insecurity, landslides at this time, lack of men's support. Basically, we've had men being left out in this conversation for a long time, and those who speak out are very few. We've seen cutting that is done after marriage. Women and girls, basically women who are already married, are cut because of social pressure and other issues. We see that poverty also is a big contributor to this, and we've seen that the social aspect, girls being cut because they feel like people say that they are dirty, they are clean, they should not be coming close to the others. And then there's something that I also saw, and Ruth, maybe we'll clarify on this, an issue with the age sets. And you talked about then in 2017, Nyongis, which is an age set among the Kalenjis, and is perceived as potential husband of the current generation of girls who are prone to female genital mutilation. So we just look at how age sets specifically really contributes to FGM. And one thing that JB Kilimo, who was the first CEO for the anti-FGM board, spoke and said one of the two biggest contributors are actually lack of education as well as illiteracy. So just speak about those issues among others. But before we go, Ruth, just expound to us alternative rites of passage, because I know those are some of the things that you've talked and delved into before. How are those working, and how effective are they?
Thank you, Jeremiah. I'll say alternative rites of passage are working well, and it's a tool that is used very well. It can bring a lot of changes, I'll say. So far, we've partnered a number of times with the county government and of Elgeiyo Marakwet and World Vision in carrying out an alternative rite of passage. We've done this for both girls and boys because, for change to come, we have to incorporate both children, And the last time I would tell you briefly about what happens in alternative rights for passage. The thing is, there are specific times that this cut happens, the seasons that normally happen. Right now, we might be confused a little and trying to wonder when will it happen in this year, because it normally happens cutting across during the holidays when the children are at home.
Yeah.
So let's say in December, because that is when it's capitalized so much.
Yeah.
In December, you find between maybe when they close a week, give it a week, or between that time. So that is when we have the alternative rights of passage. This is a place where we bring together a group of young girls and then young boys. Of course, we do the education separately, where we have a number of mentors come in. We have different professionals coming in because these are also school-going kids. We have a number of topics cutting across from education, career, all those things, and ensuring even livelihoods. And in fact, we capitalize most on livelihood because you realize there was a time we were having a community dialogue with the old women. You know what they were telling us, because now my age is the smaller one. They were like, girls of these days, if they don't cut, one of the reasons why they want to cut girls is, girls of these days, if they're not, they're not taken through the cut, no one teaches them how to behave or act when they get married, when they become big women, and how they can take care of their families, take care of their husbands, let's say, quote unquote, and even take care of their families per se, and become women in the society. So we are bringing in the aspect of livelihood just to ensure that we feed in these children. We ensure that these are career people. These are people who are in school, and we'd like to see them become leaders in the future, become those professionals, And of course, in our culture, we would assume they don't get time to come and learn a number of things, like those things that the women are now saying. So we, during this alternative rights of passage camp, this is where we bring in, we have an old woman coming. Now, mom, talk to them, tell them all you wanted to do. Another one will say they don't know how to cook. When they go, they can't feed their families, and I don't know, all those issues. We bring in someone who can teach them how to cook. We have lessons. It's a freelance thing, so that we have a guided time in the camp. We learn how to cook. We learn how to, our cultures, without the cut. We ensure that we do not have the cut coming in place, so that we just have all this incorporated and we don't have the cut at the end of it all. That's our joy, and that is all what alternative rights of passage mean. At the end of it, we do the graduation. That is where a girl feels like, when I went through the cut, we graduated, we had less sores, we had a lot of some special oil that is smeared on our faces, and we were given names. So after this camp, say 2 weeks, we have a very good graduation. We cut a cake just to celebrate people who are now going to the community, who are going to back to the society to be reintegrated with their families. They're going to meet with their peers, maybe those who went the previous year, and those who are still young and are preparing maybe to go the next year, and they'll exchange notes.
All right.
That is the essence, and that is what we've been doing.
All right.
And we feel like it's really working, because the girls are now a little strong. They'll tell you, these are the things I learned last year when you were in the alternative rights of passage camp. And I was told I'm already a big girl, even without the guts. All those things.
Yeah. All right. All right. Thanks a lot. Short break. We'll come back.
Tune in to the EndFGM live show from Monday to Friday at 5:30 p.m. East African Time. Find and follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at EndFGM Live. Reach out to us for inquiries, to report a case, or to support the show on WhatsApp +254 73 400 7674.
All right, you're back. This is the NFGM Live. Today we are in Marakwet County, And with me is Ruth Jepchumba, Ruth Kilimo, for those who call her that name, from the Marakwet Girls Foundation. She's the director and founder as well. Musa Komen from Kiputbei, a self-help group, also from the KEO. She's KEO North, in also in Elgeiyo Marakwet. So we are really glad to have them on this show. I'm just going to bring them back to the screen, but just to remind you that we are live on Facebook, on Twitter, as well as on YouTube. So bring in your comments, and we are definitely going to make sure that you're going to read them. As you can see them on the screen still coming on. I'm just going to read a few of them as they pop on the screen. I see Amon Allen Otieno says, I'm glad young people are taking FGM by its horns. I'm also happy with the transgenerational conversations. It's a powerful tool for change. Alternative rite of passage is what he's talking about. Thank you very much. I see Vincent Blessing say, glad to see Ruth Jepchumba on the bench. I applaud the male guest on how strategic he is, as well as other people still commenting. I see Minato Ketuke, as well as Bethwell Kibet Sang. Karibuni sana to this broadcast. Please keep your comments coming. We will definitely try our best to read them as they come. Just bringing our guests to the screen right now. We have Ruth Jepchumba as well as Musa Komen. Ruth, we are back just speaking about the issues in Marakwet County, and I'm just going to go to, you had spoken before, so I'm just going to go to Musa, and you're just going to talk about the engagement of men in that region. We know that there are age sets, and after 5 years or so, there is a traditional ceremony that basically necessitates the men traditionally to go for raids and come back. So that's the time also the girls are cut, or maybe you can correct me if that's not the case, but I understand that that's also the time that girls are cut en masse. How is it like, and how is it working with these girls, basically?
Thank you very much for this opportunity. I would like to say this. Here in KEO North, I have said in my last words that FGM is a thing of the past here, because our religious leaders,
all right,
in terms of fighting the FGM.
Religious leaders are involved in the fight of FGM? Is that pastors?
Now,
others?
in terms of... Yes, I mean pastors and all.
All right.
So I want to talk on men issue.
All right.
We normally have a passage of rite, which is circumcision, after every 5 years.
All right.
And this is a tradition which does not have any effect on our men. And I have said that FGM here is a thing of the past.
What do you mean? They no longer practice FGM in KEO?
They practice, but in a sacred way.
All right.
But I wanted to say that our area assistant chief and those other leaders are very much vigilant to follow on such issues.
All right.
Wherever one is found of conducting an FGM,
yeah,
is arrested and she is arraigned in court.
All right.
Yes.
KEO has been a hotspot, honestly, to speak. Looking at the cases where we have seen FGM being highlighted in the news, especially, we've seen KEO pop up in the news. Of course, in most of these countries, most of this country, we know that most of the communities know that FGM is actually illegal, and that's why they do it in secret. I was reading about where people now have resorted, because I know Elgeiyo Marakwet is quite hilly. So people resort to go do the cuts in the mountains, in the hills, and when people try to go reach and intervene, then they have stones rolled down on them. Does that happen, or is it just a myth?
I have not heard of such a case of, but it has been a long time since the act of yes, the terrain here is illy, and that is the places where people go and carry their cat secretly. Alternatively, they have relatives who are outside our county. They usually go with their children or girls when they have an intention of carrying the cat.
Yeah.
That is the method they use.
Yeah.
Because they know here that FGM is illegal.
To you, Ruth, still asking you the same question. We've heard about secrecy, lots of secrecy, and now people resorting to alternative ways of running away from enforcers of the law, basically the chiefs as well as police officers, as well as activists like you. What are the emerging trends, speaking about how the communities who do not still believe that ending FGM should be part of their mission or is a thing of the past, how have they adapted to that? Because as I had mentioned earlier, we've seen emerging trends on how people are trying to dodge.
Jeremiah, thanks. Now, we are having a number of emerging trends, as you just mentioned. People are resorting to different ways that they need to perform the practice without following the usual way. Initially, according to history, because I've tried digging down history and trying to see what used to happen. It was a very serious ceremony was being carried, and it was like an announcement, and it was massive. They were having a group of young girls, very many of them housed in one place. These days, here's the case: they don't announce anymore. And number two, the secrecy that they do. They a case we had last year in 2019 December. We had a group of a village that had to migrate their girls to the rocks up in a place where it was even hard for you to reach there. I remember engaging the chief and the police around there, and they were like, if we have to go there, it will be war. Because now, that is like they're being punished, honestly. And again, they used to have open hours that they were doing the cut, normally very early in the morning, around 6 a.m., with the birds singing, which meant blessings in the morning. And the cut would go maybe up to around 11 a.m. Nowadays, you even find that the cut is performed at night, where people, when you sleep, the cut is done at night, and in the morning, you realize several girls are already cut.
And Ruth, I know that also that the girls are usually cut these days as early as 5, 6, and initially it was between 12 and 13 years old?
Yes.
But you also have women who are cut between 30 and 32 years as well.
So now this is another emerging trend in our community, which is really rampant, that we are having women who manage, by luck or by any means that they did, managed to not to be cut when they were girls. And then they got married, now they have children. It reaches a point where you have a baby boy, the boy is supposed to go through initiation. The boy is 14, let's say, or 15, that time when he's supposed to be circumcised. You as a mother is supposed to cook for that child. But the culture will say, if you are not circumcised, you are not supposed to cook for that boy. What will happen? This is your child.
Yeah.
The women are being coerced to go through the cut. You're forced by your family or your community, your small community, that inside house.
Yeah.
You know, the jameen.
Yeah.
You're forced. You have to go through the cut in preparation so that you can be able to cook for your son, and you can be able to monitor and say kuchunga mtoto wako akiwa jandoni.
Okay, so you're taking care of your son when they are in the healing process after initiation. And that has really led to women going through the cut, and some have actually been arrested, as we've seen in the news before. And we've seen such issues cropping up. And I'm just going to talk about an issue that has been a thorn in the flesh for many people in different counties as well here in Kenya, even beyond, and that is medicalization. it used to happen that no others this year, it was just done in public as a celebration, and boys were cut almost at the same time the girls were cut as well. And just looking at this, we see that there are emerging trends now that people are actually cutting the girls almost individually. And while speaking about that, how is medicalization in that region? I'm just going to ask Musa, how many girls have you had, if there are any, that have been taken to hospital or have been cut secretly by a professional nurse or doctor or something? Have you heard of any cases before?
Okay. No.
All right.
I have not heard of any case. But I wanted to say this. Since FGM is not allowed,
All right.
there are some women who have gone further to the cut. Let's say when a woman is pregnant,
All right.
when she goes and delivers, maybe at a hospital, or she has been attended by a midwife.
All right.
That is the time these women take an advantage of doing the cut. So they see an opportunity in a pregnant woman. So she takes an advantage of doing an illegal act
All right.
to that woman.
All right.
Yes.
And I've had that case. We even had husbands arranging for the secret cutting of their wives because they were not cut, so they definitely felt intimidated, of course, by the community, and so they actually procured the cutting of the wife while she was delivering, and that was also reported officially to the police. And as we speak about these issues, I just want to ask one very simple question, and I just want to ask Ruth, why is FGM not ending in Marakwet? Lots of efforts have been put. It's a vast county, yes, but why is it not ending? One reason you'd say FGM is not ending because of this one thing. Why?
I want to say this.
All right, go on, Musa.
FGM may not end very soon because it's a tradition.
All right.
And to abandon a tradition, it requires time.
All right.
And it requires our efforts.
Sure.
And to bring or give out alternatives. Because when you tell somebody, don't take ugali, you must be ready to give out an alternative to that person.
Ugali is
So
maintenance for those who don't understand. Go on. Sorry.
Yes.
All right.
So I'm just giving out an example.
Yeah.
That when you refuse or when you say that something is not good,
All right.
be ready to give out a solution to that problem.
And what will be the solution to FGM, Musa? What would be the alternative solution if you look at it and say, all right, we are talking about female genital mutilation. It's a rite of passage. And these girls no longer, it's not right for the girls to go through FGM because it's harmful, and there's no medical reason that actually accompanies it. It's harmful for them. But the rites of passage for that community demand that a girl transits from from girl to womanhood this and this way. And initiation or circumcision used to mark that transition. What would you say would be an alternative, speaking about that, Musa? If you can hear me.
Normally, FGM or circumcision is done in the month of December.
Yeah.
My alternative is that we have to group these girls
All right.
in a place
All right.
such that we teach them on effects of circumcision.
All right.
Let's pray that this coronavirus pandemic will end soon, such that we will have gatherings that we will teach our girls on the side effects of FGM.
All right.
Yes.
So you say education of the girls is what is paramount.
Yes.
All right. Thank you very much for that. Just in case you are joining right now, this is the NFGM Live. My name is Jeremiah Kipainoi, produced by Tony Mwebia, Antonia Sophia, as well as Sonyanga Weblen. And today we are in West Pokot County hosting Ruth Kilimo, as well as Musa Komen, who basically just represents, gives us a picture of what it is like. He comes from the Keio region. We've seen quite some issues, and we're just going to talk about one issue that stands out, and an issue that I think cuts across many pastoralist communities, like the Samburos, or also the Maasai, although it's on a lower rate. But I know also the Samburu people actually experience age set issues where boys transit to another age set en masse, and when they come out to celebrate, and now they start marrying off because they're now junior elders, many girls are cut just to make sure that they are cut and married off as women. So you're just going to talk about, because I'm just going to talk about this issue right now. Heading straight to you, Ruth, I know you've delved into some of these issues. Just speaking about the age set, and I know that there are different issues revolving around how it is conducted in different communities, but how does it affect your work in ending FGM? Ruth.
Jeremiah, I lost you. What did you say?
The age set.
Sorry.
The age set. We know that in Marakwet, traditionally it was done, at least as far as I know, it's after 5 years. And when the cutting of the boys happens, then the boys now graduate and they are able to marry. And also that time, most of the girls are also cut at that time as well. So my question basically is, how has it affected your work, basically, and the campaign?
For the longest time that I've worked in this field, I wouldn't say that is a major thing, because one, with the emerging trends of these issues of FGM and the timing, the propelling issues, I would say it's a confused set. I wouldn't say it's a specific thing, age set is affecting or something of that sort.
Yeah.
Because one village might do it today, the next one might do the next day, the next one, a lot of things are happening. Right. And again, as of now, if I may tell you one other trend that is emerging, and it's really rampant, we are having the cross-border. Right. Cross-border here doesn't mean Kenya to Uganda, Kenya to Tanzania. It doesn't mean that. It means county to county.
Right.
Like, I've had a number of issues of girls along the edges of the borders of the county being taken to our neighboring county. Like, for example, we have a chief. We have a chief in a certain village that has really been so vocal on these issues. Now, the villagers are now revolting to taking their girls to the next part, which is West Pokot. We were discussing with my friend, my counterpart from West Pokot, Domchila Chesang. We were thinking, how do we do this? Because now, on the other side, on the lower side of Chesegon, you have girls being taken from West Pokot to Elgeiyo Marakwet County, and now this one is a little frustrating, because you do not even know at what point what is happening at what point, So I would tell you, Jeremiah, what is happening as of now is so much trends are coming up, so much new techniques are coming up, and it may make this work a little tough until we study so well what is happening where.
Yeah.
But answering your previous question of why is it that FGM is not ending here, I would say, Jeremiah, so far so good. The efforts that has been put in place are yielding fruits. We have men in our campaign. We have men who are speaking against female genital mutilation. This was something that wasn't happening. Right. We have a very good evidence here. We have Musa. He's speaking, and we have a number of men who are already coming out. As of now, I'll tell you, I have a dream, I have a vision, I have a clear vision that one day this one will end, only if we as community members, the entire county members, let's say, realize our role in this.
All right.
I normally say, and I'll continue saying, it's a collective responsibility. Ending FGM will take you, me, my family, your family, everyone. Any person who thinks they are related to a child, even if the child is not yours, even if the child is for a neighbor, if we realize that we have a responsibility of protecting them, trust me, Jeremiah, this one we will rub it.
All right.
And as of now, I'll tell you the numbers. If we are to do a very good statistic, I'll tell you our numbers are down.
All right.
They are down.
All right.
Compared to earlier.
Speaking about numbers very briefly, I know that some counties, actually, like the Kalenjins, we speak about that for very majorly. Some of the Kalenjins actually do not have a high prevalence of FGM, but some sub communities, I'd say, sub tribes. Yes, some tribes of the Kalenjin actually do have a high prevalence. Speaking about the Marakwet as well, even in the K region, we've seen quite a surge. We've seen I don't remember the exact name of the community because there are so many among the Kalenjins, but there are so many communities that do not see it as an issue among the Kalenjin people, but others actually have a very high prevalence. Speaking about specific data that will guide things like provision of policies and allocation of funds and just gauging on how we're going to strategize towards ending FGM. Does that affect you? And is there even specific data in regards to ending FGM in among the Marakwet? And yeah, basically.
Yes. This one, I wanted to correct you. Kalenjin is an umbrella of very many sub-tribes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have category sections of sub-tribes, and yes, just as we said, the entire Kalenjin region does not practice FGM. We have some which are zero, and we have some which are so high, and we have some which are medium. You see?
Yeah. And the data then combines all of them.
Yes, the data combines all of them. The data that we have with the KJHS, the Kenya Demographic Health Survey, which places the Kalenjin at 29%, I don't know. But we once had some data that was done, if I'm not wrong, correct me, by UNICEF, which was carried out by ACAF,
all right,
Africa Center for the Abandonment of FGM, if I'm not very wrong, which at least had some small, like when we have Maasai, then we have the Samburus, and we have the other side, the Ma community. So here in Kalenjin, you have the Pokot, the Marakwet, the Baringo, the Tugens, the Nandis, all that.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, that is that is how best you can get this data. If a statistic has to be done, it can be done to this specific group, because we realize we are not the same. Cutting across, we are not the same at all. Yes, I'm looking forward to the day KJHS will share their data. I understand they did a survey last year in 2019. I saw the raw data, but they said it was not ready to be published. I've been checking their website to see. So if we have that one, maybe that will guide. We may need to gauge and see between 2014, which was the previous survey that was done, and 2019, is there improvement? Is there is there increase, or is there decrease? That will help.
All right, thank you very much. To you, Musa, and I'm sorry we almost went too long. Just asking a quick one. Looking at your community, you are a man, and you have been able to see and even have had conversations with men speaking about how whether they want FGM to end or not. And I just going to throw a very big a blanket question to you. Why is FGM not ending within your community?
Thank you very much for welcoming me back. I want to say this. There is a community who have strong beliefs in their traditions. And it's very difficult for them to abandon them, to abandon the norms. Some men really want FGM to vanish.
But they can't speak out.
But the men cannot come strongly.
All right.
And add their voice on the issue.
Why?
Men do fear that when they marry a lady who has not been circumcised, maybe the traditions of that community cannot allow
All right.
for them to get engaged. So it becomes very difficult for the men to accept. Yes.
All right. Thank you for that. Just going straight to your comments. I know that different people are watching from different places, and I'm just going to bring their comments on the screen. As you can see, we have different people joining in from different parts of this country, and we know that as we are tuning in right now, there are different guidelines going around on how to make sure that we are safe online as well. So as we read this, just know that your comments really determine a lot in whatever you say. I'm reading that because I read some of the comments that were coming in. So just a quick one. I see Jacqueline Mwende says, thank you, Ruth, for the invite. Great discussion. JB Betty says, nice discussion. I see Kaji, Dr. Luke says he's following, and Mother Mash Kitum, he's very happy, clapping her hands. Litwati Naxon Oleumash just congratulating us on this conversation. So keep the comments coming. We really want to have a conversation that engages and tries to dig in into why FGM is being practiced in Elgeiyo Marakwet. We'll take a short break, come back. And when we'll come back, we will be talking about if given one issue or all resources, having access to resources, basically that's movement and facilitation, as well as political goodwill, and all resources you need to end FGM. What is that one thing that you will do to end FGM in Marakwet? Then we'll close off with how the landslides as well as COVID-19 is affecting activist work in Marakwet.
Tune in to the End FGM live show from Monday to Friday at 5:30 p.m. East African Time. Find and follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at End FGM Live. Reach out to us for inquiries, to report a case, or to support the show on WhatsApp +254 73 400 7674.
All right, we're back. This is the NFGM Live. Today we are in Elgeiyo Marakwet, and we had promised you before we leave, we will have talked about the current issues that are happening. And just a quick one to both Ruth as well as Musa, who are joining us from Elgeiyo Marakwet. We just be talking about how they're working with the government as well as the current happenings. You know that there have been landslides as well as the COVID-19 pandemic, which you've talked about briefly. So in one sentence or two, they just tell us how that is affecting their work. So to you, Ruth, if you can hear me, we know that Elgeiyo Marakwet has basically been working very hard to try to comfort the families and just help them overcome some of the landslides that happen in that region. Please expound on that very briefly, and then we will also talk about how the government is supporting your work as well.
Here in Elgeiyo Marakwet, the part that was affected by the landslide is Ndo Ward, which is in Marakwet East Sub-County.
All right.
This is basically home for me. This is where I come from.
Yeah.
I was affected partly, our home. Yes, the government has come in. It has really helped donating food stamps and basic needs for these people who are affected, number one. Number two, this is a community. We still have the togetherness, like a communal act. So as hosting people who are affected, has been something. It has been a little difficult, I'd say, because again, we are talking about a period where we're having a pandemic, where we are supposed to be having social distances and all that. But again, we realize us staying in our homestead, which is a one grass-like house, and we are 10, and then put another 10 people. You see, that is something. My worry through this is the fact that we are now interacting with our neighbors and the other people from the other side that was affected, on this side that was not affected. I hope you understand how I'm saying this. Is, now all of our children are home. They've been home for the last, I don't know, God knows, more than 3 months. This is the longest we've had children at home, both from university, high school, primary, kindergarten, and all that. All of them. We have people like teachers who are home. They have not been going to work. We have pastors. We have religious leaders and all that. So many things have not been happening. So right now, we have all the time to think about a lot of evil things and a lot of good things. As we speak, I am an activist. I'm a daughter of this place, and I have girls around who are my good friends, and we've been having a number of discussions here and there. I'm already getting the small chit-chat. Hey, Ruth, I don't know. It looks like my parents are planning something for me. The Pandora box opened when the CS announced that we are having schools resume in September. We are in June. We have 3 good months to still decide on what we can do and make use of this, because we all know as parents that we will be having a long time having these children. Probably in December, our children will be in school. Jeremiah, that is where my heart now beats, keeps some beats, because I don't know what might be happening in the next 3 months. I'm really hoping that with the president's plea to end FGM by 2022, that the government will also open their eyes wide and see how they can incorporate having the leadership also have a look into this issue.
All right.
Maybe. I don't know how that can go.
All right. And just to you, Musa, still talking about the same thing. We know that the government has made some steps also. And I do not know if the KU region has been affected, but we know that COVID-19, and you'd spoken a little bit about it very briefly. How has COVID-19 affected you, as well as if the landslides are also happening in the region where you are at? How are they affecting and promoting or not FGM?
Thank you so much. Due to the heavy rains, we experienced a mudslide that affected several homes in our place. The best thing the government has done so far is to move the residents to a safer place with a promise that they will be compensated. The commissioner for Elgeiyo Marakwet County assured the residents that when they move from the danger zones, the government will give them an alternative land. But more so, it's better we move to a safer place than to lose lives. On the pandemic issue, we are pleading to the government, both national and the county governments, to provide masks to the residents, because whenever we go to a shopping center, the residents are demanding or they are requesting that the government should support them with the face masks because it is very important for them to have.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Thank you for that. Ruth, to you. The government has, of course, been on the limelight, even speaking about the Day of the Girl in 2017, where you hosted the national celebration. We see that different county governments are actually adapting to different strategies to support the fight or the campaign to end FGM. And when we see, as we see right now, different counties have actually passed policies. And I'd like to know what the government of Elgeiyo Marakwet is doing to just support the work that's happening to end FGM.
I tell you, the county government of Elgeiyo Marakwet has been doing so much. They've been on the front line, ensuring that we have a number of key things, while ensuring that we have safer places for these young girls, even at risk and all that.
Yeah.
Right now, what we're working on, in partnership with the Elgeiyo Marakwet County government, we have a section of young people who are coming up and developing a policy, a county-specific policy to end FGM. I'm personally part of the team, and with support from the Women Deliver. So right now, just to say a little, we, having a document that will guide these campaigns, people will grow and they will move out of these places, even those in the county right now. But again, what will not move with us is a document that is already there. So that is the reason why we thought it's important that we have a document that will be guiding these campaigns, even to the next generation, That is one thing that I like. It's both from the national government, because we have the anti-FGM board representing the national government. We have the county government, both the county assembly and the executive. We are in a process, and very soon we'll have a document, a policy, which will be our pride, because it will help us. And that is why I was telling you, I'm looking at this FGM thing being a thing of the past at some point. It will just take some small strides, but at the end of it all, we'll be celebrating, because the moves are going the right direction.
All right. Thank you very much for that. Most of the people, if you not know a small history about Elgeiyo Marakwet, and they would correct me if I say this, is its motto is the home of champions, and you would know Iten as a place that has produced lots of very successful athletes representing Kenya on a global scale, and hold global or global records, basically world records in athletics. Looking at this, we still have issues. Now 5 years to come, and after every 5 years, we have girls cut en masse, at least traditionally, and we still have issues regarding the safety of these girls during these holidays. But just a quick question as we bring this to a close, and this goes to Musa. There was a conversation I was recently having with someone from Kajiado County, and they were worried that they would hardly have girls who are going back to school. Just a quick question to you. Do you think this period will really affect the girls going back to school?
I want to say this. This is not the right time for girls to go back to school, because the number of cases of COVID-19 is rising.
All right.
So it's better that we stay at home for us to be safe.
Are they safe at home if... are they basically safe at home, the girls?
I want to say this. The girls at home are not safe, because during this period of planting majority of girls or majority of children are used to as labor
during the planting season,
which is also during the planting season.
All right.
So you find that most of them are not used to doing such a work. They have been used to school work. So they find that it's a burden to them to till in the farms. So you find most of them, they are sneaking out of home. You find them in our shopping centers. You find them loitering. So I want to say that our girls are not safe. This is why the number of teenage pregnancies is so rising in most of our counties. It is because the parents have abandoned their duties. They have abandoned their responsibilities to see that children are at home, they are given duties so that they cannot be exposed to this pandemic. So my yes, our children, let us so be close, because when they were at school, the teachers were the managers for that time. And when they are at home, responsibility of take care of their children so that they guarantee them of their safety.
All right, thank you very much for that. Really helpful insight in that. We have had, and we always learn this even in our schools, on child labor and how it affects the development of children. And it's a very difficult conversation to have, because now people start asking, should the girls just stay and the parents work? So it's a very difficult balance to strike. But I totally get what you're saying. We want to bring this to a close. If you had all the resources and all the political goodwill, as well as ability to reach out to these communities, what is that one thing that you would say would help you to end FGM? What is that one thing that you would do if you had all the resources available to you? Ruth? Ruth, if you can hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear? Okay. Ruth, can you hear us? All right. I think we lost Ruth. But to you, Musa, if you had all the resources and political goodwill, as well as just access to these communities, what is that one thing that you would say you would work on to end FGM in Elgeiyo Marakwet?
I want to say this. With all our efforts, as political
all right,
leaders.
All right, we lost you for a second, Musa.
And
if you can hear us. We lost you for a second. Just say that again, because
I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I want to say this.
All right.
Yes. When we bring all our forces, I have said our religious leaders, our administrative unit, our political leaders, when they come together and give out a direction to a community that engages itself in FGM, I think that will fight the FGM to the end. So I want to say this. We need goodwill of these leaders.
All right.
They have to come together. They have to sacrifice their resources. They have to sacrifice their time and find that FGM is ended completely in Elgeiyo Marakwet.
Thank you very much.
So it is only about goodwill.
Goodwill.
Yes.
You need goodwill to end FGM in Elgeiyo Marakwet. All right. Thank you very much. To you, Ruth, one thing that you would say you would do that would be effective in ending FGM in Elgeiyo Marakwet if you had all the resources available to you.
One thing I'd wish is to have the goodwill, just as Musa said, from both the government for Elgeiyo Marakwet County, the entire region, from community leaders up to leaders of the top positions, come together and do a massive, with the community people, discuss, agree, and have a major community declaration just to say, in this county, we don't have to hear anything about FGM again.
Yeah.
And this will happen so gradual. It won't happen in a day.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much for that. Just quick comments as they are coming in, streaming on the screen. As you can see, I'm just going to read them as they come in. I see Godfrey Okumu saying, greetings to Ruth, watching from Dakar, Senegal. And Ruth Chumba says, Faye Chumba says, thank you so much for the informative, real conversation. Masi Jepkuri says, great discussion. Suta Ene says, hi. So she's greeting you.
Hello.
Letwati Naxon Oleumash says, I think the direction should be from down up, not the other way around. So
Yes.
I don't know how that's actually actualizable, because we're always talking about the community being able to engage and have conversations that they own. So that's a very crucial and very important comment there. We want to bring this to a close right now, and someone might be watching and wondering, how can I further this conversation? How will they be able to reach out to you? And starting off with Ruth.
People can reach out to me. It's very easy. On Twitter, my handle is there, the poster. My name is Ruth Jechumba on Facebook. We can always engage. I'm here. Let's discuss. I'm open to new ideas. I'm open to people, collaborations from different people. And I'm looking forward to us taking this conversation further. People can always reach out to me. And thank you so much.
All right. Reach out to Ruth on her Twitter handle at Ruth Kilimo. And to you, Musa, how do people reach out to you? And if you have any other words, just let me know. If you have any parting shots as well. So I did ask you to say that, Ruth, but just say it to Musa. And if you have anything else, we add onto that, Ruth, before we close. How do people reach out to you, Musa?
Okay. I am on Facebook, Musa Komen on Facebook. Also on WhatsApp, Moses Koech. You will find me there.
All right. Is that on Instagram or on Twitter?
I am neither on Instagram nor on Twitter.
All right. So
yes.
People should find you on Facebook as Komen Musa?
Yes.
Fantastic. Thank you very much for that. We really do appreciate. Any final words you'd like to leave before we bring this to a close? None?
My final word
All right.
is so fighting FGM. Let us put our Almighty God first, because when we also pray, and Jeremiah, I think you could have also started this conversation or interview with a word of prayer. Me personally, I am a catechist. I am a religious leader. I am a catechist. And I am also a treasurer in my group. So quote first, our Almighty God will not fail us with all that we need in our lives. Nataka nisome Biblia, Isaya 11.
All right, briefly, yeah.
Inasema ya kwamba yule mtu ambaye anategemea nguvu za binadamu. Let us trust in our living God. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you very much. Very important one. It says, let's put God first. And I think that's very crucial, especially in reaching to these communities. Yeah, and I didn't know that you were actually a religious leader. So thank you very much for telling us at the end of the show. And to you, Ruth, if you have any parting comments, we would really appreciate having that as well.
Jeremiah, female genital mutilation is a violation of human rights. Women's rights are human rights. If we all understand that this is a violation of human rights, I think the discussion will shift. So far, so good. I love the way the discussion is moving from region to region, even at the global platforms. So if we continue this way, let's not despise the ability of the small strides that we are making. I would appreciate each and every person who is following this discussion, who is in this campaign to bring change. And definitely, at the end of it all, trust me, we will realize that our campaigns, our efforts, and all that yields fruit at the end. And I know FGM will come to an end. People should also follow Marakwet Girls Foundation. Feel free to join the team. We have a very vibrant team of young people who are leading from the front. We are scooping positions and ensuring that we sit on those tables unapologetically. So people, feel free to join us. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Bring this to a close. This is the end of FGM Live. Today we are in Marakwet County with Musa Komen as well as Ruth Kilimo. And we've been talking about the issues that are affecting girls at this time, activists at this time, and how the government is basically supporting their efforts. Because as we know, there is an act that prevents the practice of FGM in Kenya. And it's the mandate of different stakeholders. But the government, it's illegal to practice FGM either medically or traditionally. It is illegal in this country. So we want to bring this to a close, but just to thank you very much for joining us today. We do appreciate having you. Remember that we'll be live here again, and tomorrow we will be in West Africa on our special edition featuring different stakeholders in 3 different countries. So don't miss that episode tomorrow, because we will be having a conversation all the way from West Africa. This is Jeremiah Kipainoi, and this show has been produced by Tony Mwebia as well as Antonia Sophia and Sonyanga Webline. Thank you very much. Until tomorrow, stay safe and protect those who are close to you, your friends, your family, as well as yourself. Thank you, and see you tomorrow.
Tune in to the EndFGM live show from Monday to Friday at 5:30 p.m. East African Time. Find and follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at EndFGM Live. Reach out to us for inquiries, to report a case, or to support the show on WhatsApp +254 73 400 7674.